Good afternoon, everybody. I have a video for you guys today. Pretty simple, pretty basic, but if you don't know how to do it, you don't know how to do it. So this door here has been painted and looks great and all, but it does not latch. And I'll show you how to fix that and why it's not latching. But you can pull it and push it without even turning the knobs. It's not latching. So let's fix that, shall we? As you can probably tell, this is the mark where the striker is hitting, which if you go down here is too low. It needs to be pretty much perfect center of that so that your latch falls into that hole when it closes, and then you turn the knob, it allows you to go back. So we need to lower this down, but if I just cut this out and put this down, I'll have a gap up here and that won't look good at all. It's a little bit more confusing than that. We're going to have to lower this door frame down on this side. So if we close the door all the way, you can notice that the gap here is smaller than the gap over here, which means that the hinge side was set lower than the striker side, or the striker side was set too high compared to the hinge side. It's been that way as far as I can remember, even when I remodeled this bathroom 7 years ago, whatever it was. It's always been that way, but we didn't have the time to fix it then, or didn't think about it. So now we're going to fix it since we're doing all this other stuff. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to cut the nails from behind with a Sawzall probably. We'll take out the striker plates, we won't cut the screws off, and then take that trim piece off and then lower this side down until that striker fits. So let's do it. Dokie. Now that this is free and no longer attached to the wall, I can trim the bottom of that with my Dremel tool, which I'll show you in a second. And we will be able to make this door side on the side of the door shorter, which will make it fit. And then we can reattach it with the right gap between the door and there as well. So let's go get the Dremel and trim that down. So this is what you call a Dremel tool. Let me move you up a bit here. It's called a Dremel tool, but they actually have other names for it. It's just, the brand is Dremel, but I call it the Dremel tool. It's more of like a flat cut saw maybe, or something like that. I think what they call it. But they come with these little blades, and they go in little teeth here on the end, like so. And then when you click this back, it holds it in place, and then you can cut stuff basically right on the surface of the ground, because it's very low profile and it sticks out like this. So that's perfect for this because we need to shrink it down just by that much. And it's good for when you're doing flooring stuff too, because if you have a flooring you want to slip underneath a piece of trim, you can take this and cut it, or if you want it to be underneath the door itself, you can take this and cut it and then slide your flooring underneath. So we're just gonna use this to trim it, that way we can bring it down. And we only need to trim it like that much, like less than a 1/4 inch, like 3/16 of an inch, that way it can come down. So we'll trim that little bit off, and then we'll do some more work on the door. First, I need an extension cord. But before we mark and trim it, I'm gonna take out the door seal, which just slits in a little groove, like so, just a tiny bit, and you squish it in, and this keeps sounds and temperatures and smells from escaping or entering the room, which obvious reasons. So now that that's removed, I can mark down there and then cut it. The easiest way I have found to mark a straight line when you only want to trim a tiny bit is to take the pencil and lay it flat on the ground and then just drag it. Keep this in place. Just drag it along the bottom, just like that. And you have a perfect little line to follow. I'm actually gonna have to call it quits right there for today because I'm gonna go play some volleyball. But when we get back, we can take this flat bar, Slim Jim, whatever you want to call it, stuff it up here. And then when I push it down, a little hard to do one-handed, it will bring that closer to the ground. You can see it moving up and down there. So we'll move it to where it's tight to the ground, and then we'll refasten the wall, put the trim on, repaint, etc., etc. But I'll be back in just a second because I'll go play volleyball while you guys wait for me. Well, hello. I am back from playing volleyball. It's actually the next day, so I'm back for a while. But we're back to work on this door and make sure that it latches properly. The problem is the top is too tight, the bottom is too loose. So the too loose point is no problem at all because we can bring it in and shim it in. You can use painter sticks or shims. Right now I only have painter sticks, so hopefully that's the right spacing. But on the top, I'm gonna run a framing screw in at the top and try to suck that over a little bit. That way it gives a little more space. And if that doesn't work, we'll see what the other options are, but let's try that first. So here's where we're at. We got the door closing properly, and there is a little bit of a gap. Not quite what I want. It should match this side, but since I'm not resetting the entire door, I'm not gonna worry about it as long as it latches and the reveal down here matches as best I can. So as you can see, the gap is a tiny bit big down there, but we'll put a little shim behind it, and then we'll nail it, and then once we nail the trim on, it'll lock it in place. Now we can focus on setting the latch, which is this baby right here. The door didn't close before latch before because this latch was too high. So now that we've cut this side of the door down to where it actually lines up, the door will actually close and latch. But you can see that there's a gap right there. It should latch completely tight, which once we put the door seal back in, we will see how that works. So let's actually do that first. Okay, the door seal's back in now, so let's close it. And it latches, but check this out. See how it still moves? It should close tightly, so let me show you how to fix that real quick. And let's go on a little treasure hunt here, looking for a screwdriver like this one. So take a screwdriver with a flat tip on it like this, stick it in your little hole here. See that right there? Stick it in there, and then give it a little bend. And then try it out. A little better, but still could use some help. So let's bend it some more. Okay. Still doing it. Don't want to go much more, so we'll see where our stopping point is here, but better. Not perfect, but this door I'm pretty sure was made instead of bought, and they didn't set that latch back far enough. So I have two options. Leave it to where it's good enough, or move it and mess up the look of that trim. I think we're going to leave it because there's a point to where you can make it better, but then you make something else worse. In this case, if you move that, you're gonna make the trim look worse. And so it closes and latches now, which is great. And it has a seal, so it won't make any rattling noises when the main doors open and the air transfers from the room. So that is job well done. Now all we have to do to finish this little project is actually clean up after ourselves. And then we're going to sand the door frame because we're actually going to be staining it with the stain trim, the same color as the stain trim on here. But that's going to be for another video because this video is just explaining how to readjust the door when it's not latching properly. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Don't forget to look in the descriptions as well. As always, as all the other blabby blab stuff. Thanks for watching. God bless.